We are with Mr. Austin Jack Warner, a political heavyweight who in 2015 bowed out of active politics. But within recent times, we saw his return to the political landscape in Trinidad and Tobago. Mr. Warner, it is our pleasure, first of all.
Mine as well.
Yes.
Right.
And my first question I must ask you, what imbued you to enter back into the landscape of politics?
Well, to be honest with you, I thought I had gone into the sunset of my political life and I would relax, watch some cricket on TV, play some offers with my friends, go on a river line, and generally do those things that guys my age do when they're relaxing. But when I saw that the People's National Movement had put a candidate in my constituency who lives in Marval, some 30 or 25 miles from where we live, doesn't know anything at all about the constituency. And the UNC put one who lost, ignominiously in 2007. I felt that both parties had taken us in this constituency for granted. Both parties believe you could put a crapper or some doubles in this constituency and people will vote for it. That must change. And I felt that I must be the catalyst for that change because this constituency has been neglected for eons, for decades. And I said enough is enough.
And do you think Lupino Bonnet that you're representing at present, do you think that they're going to move away from this bipartisan politics? Because it is almost as though the entire Trinidad and Tobago is polarized. They either see through the lens of the yellow or the lens of the red. Do you think that Trinidad and Tobago is ready for this political change?
There are two reasons why I think so. In the first case, there is so much hopelessness, so much youth unemployment, so many problems with roads and bridges and garbage disposal. There are so many issues in this constituency that I believe they are fed up and they say enough is enough and they decide to go with a party or a person who they believe can best represent their interests. But more importantly, if the reception which I have received from visiting house to house for the past 3 weeks, if at all one were to gauge by the reception I received, one would say most convincingly that they have moved away from the bipartisan two-party politics. I want to say, however, if that's not the case, then they have to be good actors, all of them, and should be in Hollywood, because the response has been anything but fantastic.
We see people doing political campaign, we see them giving support, but does that mean that they are actually going out and vote for that party?
Well, the taste of the pudding, in my case, the taste of the pudding would be the eating.
Are they just opportunists?
I don't think so. I think they are, in my particular case, I think they are genuinely concerned about their welfare, about their future, about their children. Our Prime Minister went to Ghana, and when he came back here, what did he say? He said that he is going to import yam from Ghana. We have so many idle acres of land in Trinidad and Tobago, where young people can be given lots of land to plant, to grow food and so on, to make this constituency self-sufficient or even the country, and they could export yam, as it were. But he goes to import yam and leave the land say idle, people unemployed. Another thing too why it's got me angry, in Ghana, you have a youth employment agency. It was formed in 2016. It's the most progressive in the world. And we have failed to copy that. And therefore, I have decided that I will replicate that in this constituency and make sure that our young people are taken care of.
What are your visions, Mr. Warner, for the citizens or your constituents in the Lupino Bonnet area if selected?
Well, I believe that there are so many problems here that if selected, and if selected along the lines I predict, then I think that my voice and my vote shall be very decisive in making the lives of these constituents here better.
Do you think that the legacies of slavery still lingers on mentally? That the black society see agriculture, or there's an association between agriculture and low class or agriculture and the stigmatization of slavery?
I would have said so a couple of years ago if agriculture had not been the success it is today, the kind of money spinner it is. And because of that, anybody who believes what you have said is looking for an excuse of not being able to be productive. Slavery, after 200 years plus, if we still use slavery as an excuse for our indolence and almost our impotence, then something has to be wrong with us here.
And Mr. Warner, within recent times, I read that you said, and you are the only politician that said this. I look at you as a philanthropist as well, who said that you're willing to work for $1.
That's right.
We are in an economic crisis. Well, the world at large, and Trinidad and Tobago, well, a microcosm of the greater world. But this is nothing that you just say, because some years ago, you were actually working for $1.
That's right.
Do you think that this is being overlooked by the public? Do you think greater emphasis needs to be put on what you are saying that you will do? Because there's no politician throughout our history that came forward and said, listen, you're basically saying, I am willing to work for you, the people, for free.
I go further than that. I take office every morning up to now at 4 a.m. I go to bed between 10 and 11 if I'm lucky. And I see everybody who comes to see me. I mean, from wherever they come, I see them. Not only my salary is $1 per month, as it was 5 years ago, and I had, for 5 years, I got $60. But I consistently refuse to purchase any tax-free car because I'm a minister or a member of parliament, and then in 2 years' time sell it to somebody else. That's the kind of racket they do. I have bought 7 cars in the last 5 years. I've bought 4 of them while I was in parliament, and not one of them was tax-free. And I propose to do the same thing here this time around.
But some viewers who may be watching and some supporters of both the PNM and UNC will think that we here on the live wire, probably we are morally bankrupt to listen to corruption from you.
Yep.
Who have to understand that a man is only guilty when he's proven guilty, and we are not judge, jury, and executioner. Mr. Warner, do you think that this country, Trinidad and Tobago, will only appreciate you when you pass away?
Well, that's the style, that's the habit. When I see Patrick Manning died, I see Dr. Rowley come forward and make a speech on Patrick Manning, and how, of course, he was a great man, and blah, blah, blah. I was there. I felt to puke, because Patrick Manning's demise, in many ways, is because of Dr. Keith Rowley. If they give me encomiums or praises when I die, I wouldn't even hear them. But if I could have heard them, I would buy them. Sorry about that.
Yes. Mr. Warner, we are looking at a 2020, and this is 2020. Mm-hmm. Remember years ago, every year we were hearing about Patrick Manning 2020 vision, mm-hmm. and we are about to see this vision unfold. Now you're saying 2020 and 1.
That is right.
With that one seat, Mr. Warner, it can make the difference.
Absolutely.
That one seat could actually carry you to prime ministerial position.
I'm aware of that. It happened in St. Vincent, right? But I'm not seeing anything. I'm keeping my cards close to my chest. And I'm saying to the public and to my constituents, when the time comes, not if, when the time comes, I'll come back to them for some kind of guidance, to them and the party's executive. And however they guide me, there I shall move.
But Mr. Warner, we heard a lot of mudslinging on your political campaign against both the PNM as well as the UNC. But now I'm going to ask you the question that everyone is asking. Mm-hmm. Which political party do you think that you're more inclined to make an alliance with, should you have that one seat?
At this point in time, I'm not even willing to admit which one. And the reasons are quite obvious. In the first case, the UNC has treated me very badly. The cabal has almost tried to kill my career after I put them in power. And I felt that this is a party that one has to stay far from if one wants to be serious. On the other hand, the PNM, I have never been a PNM member in my life. In my life, I have never joined the PNM. And I don't see in the winter of my years, I should do that, particularly when they are their lowest, and more so under Dr. Keith Rowley.
Mr. Warner, we thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, we're finished already, man. After all, I'm not getting heated, man.